Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we are building a CLI reminder tool. So you'll be able to work from your CLI, your command line interface, and you'll be able to set a reminder many minutes into the future, and then you'll get that reminder here on your machine, on your laptop. Now, this project is supposed to lie somewhere around the 20th or the 21st position in the Golang projects playlist. So what I'm assuming is that you've already done those 20 projects and you're taking up this project as the 20th or the 21st project. So that means that this project requires substantial amount of knowledge of Golang. And I won't be explaining a lot of things in this project because I'm already assuming that you would already have done those 20 projects and you would know Golang quite a bit before you even attempt this project. So what I'm trying to say here is that this is not a beginner friendly project. This is not a project for beginners, okay? This is for people who already know Golang. And let me first show you quickly how it's going to work. So we'll say go run main.go. And if I don't pass these values, which is the time when I want to see the reminder message and the reminder message, this is going to show me how to use it. And then when I say, when I pass the time, so right now the time is 13:08 on my machine. So I'll say 13:09, I want to see a message. Hey, how are you? So I'll say reminder will be displayed after 16 seconds. So what we'll do is we'll wait a while and we'll see the reminder. As you can see here on top, it uses the native Ubuntu alert box to show me the reminder. And now the reminder has gone away. So it's a different project. It's not a web project, but it's very interesting for people who want to work at the OS level, who want to understand how to activate the alerts, how to show these kind of messages from the OS side. Okay, so it's a different project. We're not doing web this time. We're doing something different. But it's a small. The code will be very small. Project will be very small, but it'll require a lot of knowledge of Golang. In the sense, it'll require you to already have existing knowledge of Golang. Okay. There are a few. There's one more feature that is there here. So right now it's 13:09 already. So if you put a reminder for 13:08, and it says set a future time. So it has these kind of checks also. So small checks are also there telling you, hey, why don't you set a time in the future? So we'll have to have those kind of comparisons as well. I've already built this project, as you can see, but I'll be building it with you from scratch. And we'll be building it quickly. It shouldn't take more than 25-30 minutes. But okay, and anyways, let's get started. Before we get started with the project, let me show you the two libraries that we'll be using. We'll be using olabedv/ven. So ven is the library that we need to be using, but it's hosted with this person's account. So shout out to him for creating this awesome library, which we can use to work with time. The functions that we'll be using in this library, I urge you, whenever I build something, I'm always looking inside the documentation of the projects, right? So on another screen, I'll always have documentation open of all the libraries that we're using in that project. I always recommend you also do the same. When you're building a project with me, always keep the documentation open of the library that we'll be using. You'll get a habit of how to read documentation. Now this little library may not have documentation, like very solid documentation. So you can just jump into the code and actually check out the functions that this person has built. So we'll be using the parse function, okay, and we'll be using the add function. We'll be using the use function, and I expect you, since you would know Golang already, I would expect you to understand these functions, understand what these do. We'll be just using these functions from this library into our project. The other thing that we'll be using is gen2brain/beep. This is the library that we're using. Okay, so this is a cross-platform library for Golang for sending desktop notifications. So when you saw that alert, it's basically coming from here. All right. So as you can see, not a lot of documentation available, but you can see at least a little bit. Notify, alert, these kind of things are there. So you can access those notifications saying assets/whatever.png, right? So in our case, it'll also be something like this only, reminder.png or whatever. Okay, so and by the way, these assets are with this library itself in the assets folder. Information involving. So we'll have to use one of these anyhow. Okay, so let's get started now that you know which libraries we're using. But please open up these ones, go through them, understand how people build libraries. That's how you'll understand, the basic fundamental building blocks, which are modules of Golang. How do people build these modules and host them? Okay, so now let's get started with the project. So here I'll be creating a directory called CLI reminder project, and we can cd into it, CLI reminder project, and I can go mod init. Like this, /akil / CLI reminder project. And let's open it up with VS Code. Now with VS Code, it's a little easy to develop with Golang. And I usually use VS Code, but you could be using anything else, not a problem. So here we're going to have only one file, main.go file. And we'll start with package main. And we'll obviously have import. And we'll have to import those packages that I just showed you. But other than that, I also need FMT. I need OS. Now in this small little project that we're doing, I have disabled the extensions, my VS Code extensions. So I usually use the first 2-3 extensions that help me to format my Golang code, to help me find issues and errors. But this project is barely 50-60 lines, so I'm not using it because extensions really create a lot of problems for me. So for bigger projects, I obviously use them. If you've been following me, you know that. But for a small project like this, I won't be doing it because because I know the packages that I'm using here, and if I save it, it'll make all those packages disappear because I've not started using them yet, and all of those problems, right, that come with extensions. Okay, so the two packages that we are using, the external ones. So one is called github.com/gen2brain, which I just showed you, gen2brain / beep with 3 E's. The other one that we're using is github.com/OLEBEDEV/ven. Okay. Again, guys, I strongly recommend you open up these two libraries, these two modules, when you're implementing this with me, and try and go through it, try and read the whole thing. That's how you become a more experienced developer. All right. I want to define two constants to begin with. One is called mark name, the other is called as mark value. And let's call this Golang CLI reminder mark value. For now, it's 1. And the most important function in a Golang main file is func main. This is where the complete entry into the program starts. This is the the root of everything. Now we're going to be using the OS package to get our arguments. And if we have not passed the arguments, like if you remember when I showed you the tool, we are not passing any arguments to the function. It was saying that, hey, this is how you use it. It was showing the usage of the function. So that's what I want to do. So if I want to say that this is less than 3, the arguments, then I just want to print out, hey, this is how you want to use it. Usage %s HHMM text message /n os.args 0. So at args0 you'll have the location of the project. So in my case you saw that entire link, the path of the project. So that was basically args0. This is completely optional, you don't have to have it. I've just kept it here. And if obviously you've not passed the arguments, you would want to exit the program. What we'll now start with, we'll first take a variable called now to time.now. we'll take a variable called w equal to when.new. So when I was showing you the documentation for when, I said that we'll be using the new function. So now you need to go to the new function inside the documentation, inside the code, and understand what the new function does. Okay. And then we'll also be using the add function, same in the when library, in the when module. So now if we just adding for English, we'll add for common dot all. Now let's parse. Use the w.parse method. So this method also I've shown you in the code. This is for parsing. Just check out in detail what it does. Comma now. And this is the error that we'll handle. So let's say error is not equal to nil. Now if you're not able to understand what these functions do, add, parse, and add and parse, and these two lines do, then please put it in the comments below, or you can always message me on LinkedIn. I'm always there. But I want you to read the code, and I want you to figure this out on your own, because this is supposed to be the 21st project in Golang. If you have not become very comfortable with reading code in the modules, it's a big problem. Try to understand it. Try to spend some time. Try to understand it. If it doesn't work, please message me on LinkedIn. I will reply back, and I'll explain to you. Okay. Here you'll see os.exit to but if t is nil, we'll say unable to parse time. So these are those small conditions checking that we're going to have. And here also we'll have os.exit to. And the last little condition that we had when I was trying to put a time into the future, and it said that, hey, set time into the past, and said, hey, you need to set a time for the future. So we need to have that condition also out here. So that condition is now dot after t dot time. So if this is the case, you want to print out set a future time and exit with condition 3. Okay, so the time is after, then you want to say set a future time. And let's take out the difference by subtracting time with now. So we found the difference. Difference basically is when we want to, let's say we want to say, right, and your message will be displayed in these many seconds. So this is why I find out the subtraction with now and the time, and we'll get those seconds into the future. So here you will say not value. And you want to sleep for that much time, for the difference of those seconds. You don't want to do anything for those many seconds, right? Whatever seconds you found out from the subtraction between time now and the time with which the message should be displayed. You want the program to sleep and do nothing. And then after that you want to say beep.alert. You want to use the alert. And if you saw the alert that had come onto my screen, you can go back to that place where the alert had come onto my screen on my laptop. The topic of that alert said reminder. This is what it is. Right here, the topic, which is reminder. And you say strings.join os.args. What we're saying is we were just joining the message that we have taken from the user, which is, hey, how are you? And we're taking it here. We're using strings.join function. From 2 onwards, when I say 2 : says 2 onwards. And here I'll say comma. So I told you, right, in that assets folder, when we went to the Beep library or module, we went to the assets folder and we saw it had two things, right? It had information, it had, I think, warning. So we'll be using the information.png. Okay. So here, if we'll say if error is not equal to nil, fmt.println error. But first I need to catch this, whatever comes from here, I need to catch that in error, and I'll handle that error here. And if there's an error, I want to exit with condition 4. Okay. But here, I want to have an else statement, have a value called cmd. So here we'll say cmd is equal to exec.command os.args 0 and 1 onwards, cmd.environment is equal to append os.environment fmt.printf mark name comma mark value. Okay. And here we'll say cmd.start. So we just want to start running the command, and we'll handle the error also here. So it's an error is equal to cmd.start, error is not equal to nil, fmt.println error os.exit condition 5. And we'd also say here, because we're running the command here, we'll also say the reminder will be displayed after. And this is the thing that you've seen when the program runs successfully. What you see is reminder will be displayed after the time, right? So here we are just printing this out. So we're saying fmt.println reminder displayed after, comma difference. Now you have stored it in your difference, the time, the seconds basically between now and when the time you've mentioned, and we'll round it off in seconds format. So it'll give us like 29 seconds or 30 seconds or 16 seconds like it had given us. And after that, we'll just os.exit 0. All right. So this is it. Just 60 odd lines if you don't consider these brackets and remove these spaces. That's it. That's the entire program. Let's remove a couple of spaces. So 60 odd lines if you don't consider the brackets. And that's it. That's your entire program. And now let's run it and fix issues if there are any issues. So we'll say go run.go. Okay, so it's giving us these issues saying this beep and when, all these are not existing. So we'll say go mod tidy and we'll keep finding the packages. Now let's try running it again. We'll say go run main.go. Okay, so it says cannot use error, variable of type error as type string and arguments. Okay, so this I can see that I've probably said command wrong, so I'll go to line 55. Quickly fix this here, and on line 35 it says cannot print error, and that's because I've said F here, so that should be ln. Now let's start it again. Perfect. So now it says put the time and the text message, and everything will work fine. Let me make the window smaller in case my face is by mistake covering this. Don't want that to happen. So let me clear this out. Run it again. Go run main.go. Oh, sorry. Okay, so now you can see it's saying everything is working fine. Saying put the time and the text message. So the time we'll say right now it's 13:47, so we'll say 13:48. And hey, how are you? So the reminder will be displayed in 10 seconds. So if you can just wait with me for 10 seconds, you'll see the reminder coming out here on top. Hopefully. Yeah, so you can see here reminder, which is the title we had given in the code. Hey, how are you is the message that we have taken as part of the arguments. So we worked with arguments. We've taken the time in the arguments. We've taken the message in the arguments. We've displayed the alert with the help of beep, the beep.alert. And we have taken the difference of the seconds between now and the time that's going to come. And we've shown it here, which is our variable, def variable. And we've shown this message. We've shown message about the future, right? It says set a future time. So all of the conditions have been taken care of. So I hope you enjoyed this little project. In case you don't understand those three functions, the add function and the new function from when, those two functions I meant, please put in the comments below. If you have any other doubts, put in the comments below. Again, like I said, this project is not for beginners, because obviously, even though it's very simple, but you still need to understand Golang. All right. So thank you for your time. Thank you for building this project with me. And we'll be doing a little more, slightly more bigger projects from now, okay? Which will, again, we'll go to the web side of things. Now we were not in the web side, right? Okay, so thank you, and do subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.